Hi and welcome to this mid-year exam revision lesson. We're looking at our mid-year exam paper 2 now, and we'll just go through some of the, or all of the questions, answering it as it fits in the exam. Okay, so first question, question 1. Consider a circle with its center m, negative 2, 1, and a radius of 2 in a second circle with this equation that has a center n. First question is write down the equation of circle with center m, and that should be fairly straightforward. So when I have a circle, my equation is x minus the x coordinate of the center line plus y minus the y coordinate of the, not center line, midpoint, or center, is equal to the radius squared. And so since we've been given that information, negative 2 for the x value and 1 for the y, so this is negative 2, so it's plus 2, and then negative positive 1, which is just 1, and then the radius was 2. And so there it is. You get a point for each of these values, okay, or each of those substitutions. Next question, determine the midpoint and the radius of the circle with center n. So you'll see there we have this expression, so we've got the equation, we must find the center and the radius, and the way we would do that is by writing it is currently in this form. So let's see, that's a 12 and a 4, 31 plus 12x plus y squared plus 4y plus 31 is equal to negative 31. Okay, so basically all I did was to just rewrite this with the constant on the other side. And the reason why I do that is because in order to get it into this format, I need to complete the square. Complete the square, I take the term in front of the x, divided by 2, and then square it. So 6 that's half of 12, and square. So I'm adding 36 on the left hand side, so I must add 36 on the right hand side. Here, half of that is 2 squared, and so I'm adding another 4 on that side. So notice on this side, all I need to do now is factorize this into x plus 6 squared plus y plus 2 squared is equal to, and then on this side this is 40 minus 31 is 9, which is 3 squared. And the reason why I write it as a square is because that now gives me my center. So the coordinates for n is negative 6 comma negative 2. Just confirm that I am indeed, negative 6 comma negative 32, or negative 2, and then the radius is 3. Cool. Next question is calculate the distance mn. So what is the distance between these 2 points? And that's a simple distance formula question. So the distance of mn is equal to the square root of, and then here's my formula, the x value is from negative 2 up to negative 6, so minus 6 is plus 6 plus, and then on the y values we are subtracting, here we are, from negative 1, or sorry, positive 1 to negative 2, so plus 2 squared. And so this is 4 squared plus 3 squared is 16 plus 9 is 25, so the square root of 25 is 5. You'll notice there it's 3 marks. So 1 is for the formula, 1 is for substitution, and 1 is for the final answer. The next question is, now without drawing the circles, give a reason why one can conclude that the 2 circles only touch each other externally. So touching each other externally means that I have one circle, and then I have another circle that touches it like that. Okay, now how would you know by the information that we have that this is indeed the case? Well, if we, for example, connect the centers, the center lines, you'll notice something. You'll notice that this radius and that radius, this is a radius and that radius. So R1 plus R2 is equal to the distance between the centers. Okay, so is equal to D. So since this is N and that is M, or whatever, it doesn't matter which one is which, but we notice that so in other words, if we can see in the first one the radius is 2, in the second one the radius is 3, and then the distance between them is 5. So 2 plus 3 is indeed equal to 5. Therefore the radius of the one plus the radius of the other one is equal to the distance between them, and that is the reason why. Okay, next question. In the diagram below, that M is the midpoint between the x-intercept and A and the y-intercept B. Determine the equation of the line. So in order to have the equation of a line, we either need the gradient, or we need 2 points. All we know now here is a midpoint. Okay, so we have a point, but it's a special point. It's a midpoint. Now, if this is a midpoint, I know that it's halfway between these two values. In other words, it's halfway here. So if I go from here halfway and it's -3, then all the way up here, A is equal to -6. If this one is halfway up to B, then it's at 2, so all the way up to B is at 4. So if I wrote this then as the coordinates, I would have that A is -6, 0, and B is 0, because it's on the y-axis, 4. And there were different ways you could have done it. You could have said x1 plus x2 over 2 is equal to that's the x coordinate for the center, and that is equal to -3. But we know that x1, which is the let's say B, or let's say that's x2, we know that is 0. So x1 over 2 is equal to -3. It's 0 because it's on the y-axis. So x1 is equal to 2 times 3, which is -6. And doing the same with the y value. But you could have found it by inspection as well. The first 2 points went for finding those intercepts. And then from here on, it's trivial. We find the gradient. Okay, the gradient is simply change in y over change in x. So it's 4 minus 0 over 0 minus -6. So it's plus 6, so it's 2 over 3, and then y is equal to 2 over 3x plus c. When we have one parameter left to solve, we substitute a point. The point we have is -3. Well, you could use any point. Why not just make it super simple and not even substitute anything, because we already have the y-intercept. C is the y-intercept. So we already have the y-intercept, that's 4. So y is equal to 2 over 3x plus 4. And so the next 2 marks, one went for the gradient, the other one for the plus 4, and that brings our total to 4 marks. Level 4 question, not a difficult one, but a problem-solving question. Yes. If the gradient of AB is 2 over 3, determine the angle of inclination of AB. So super simple question. Super simple question. Gradient. See, the gradient is 2 over 3, so they want the angle of inclination. So tan of theta is equal to 2 over 3. So theta is equal to arctan of 2 over 3. And that is 2 over 3 and inverse tan, there we go, 33,69. So it is 33,69 degrees. Good. Next question. is question 1.3. In the diagram below, we have circle with center, circle x minus p plus y minus q squared is equal to r squared, with center D. Intersects the x-axis at negative 6, 0, and the y-axis at 0, 8. C is the midpoint of AB. Okay. Maybe you'll notice it's similar to this question. I don't know if it has an influence on the addressing some of the questions, maybe, but that's maybe worthy to notice. Find the equation of the line f that passes through AB. So there's AB. That once again is a trivially easy question. We have the 2 points, so it's simply working out the gradient. It goes from negative 6. So A is negative 6, 0. B is 0, 8. So again, I have y is equal to mx plus c. I already have c, so this is y is equal to mx plus 8. And now to get m, all I need to do is substitute one of the values. So let's say y is equal to 0, m is equal to negative, x is equal to negative 6, not m, negative 6 plus 8, and I get m is equal to 8 over 6, or 4 over 3. Okay, so there's other ways. You could have done it the same way as I did the previous one. First work out the gradient, and then after that find the y-intercept, and yeah, it's not that difficult. Okay, find the equation of the line G that passes through CD. Okay, so find the equation of the line passing through CD. Now, one thing that we know about C is the midpoint. Okay, C is the midpoint of AB. So we have a point which is halfway between negative 6 and 0, so that's negative 3, and halfway between 8 and 0, which is 4. So negative 3, 4. And then another thing we should realize is that if I go from the center of the circle to the center of the chord, this is a chord. Okay, and it says the x-axis at y. Yes, so the from the center of the circle to the center of the chord makes a 90-degree angle. In other words, DC is perpendicular to AB. So one thing that I know is that y is equal to negative 4. Sorry, let's rather start like this. I know that the gradient of AB times the gradient of CD must equal negative 1. That just means that if AB is 4 over 3, then CD will be the reciprocal, swapping this one up and denominator and numerator, and it will have a different sign. So MCD will be negative 3 over 4. So I have y is equal to negative 3 over 4x plus c. I've got one parameter left to solve. I substitute a point. The point that I have that is actually on the graph is this point C. So we work out C as the midpoint, and you know how to work out the midpoint. We've done it twice already. So going from negative 6 to 0, so this is negative 3, and then from 0 to 8, halfway there is 4. So this is the midpoint, and so y is then equal to 4 is equal to negative 3 over 4, x is equal to negative 3 plus c. So if we solve c, c is therefore equal to the negative times the negative gives me a positive 9 over 4, and so this is 16 over 4 minus 9 over 4 equals 7 over 4. And so my final answer, y is equal to negative 3 over 4x plus 7 over 4. Okay, that is the equation of this line, DC. Now we come to a quick question. If the length of DC is equal to 12, show that the radius AD is 13. So DC is 12. We need to find AD. So again, remember, this is a 90-degree triangle. So what we could do is we could start by saying AD squared is equal to, because it's Pythagoras, we can use Pythagoras, AD squared is DC plus AC. It's equal to DC squared plus AC squared. Okay, so AD squared we have is what we want. We want the radius of the circle, AD, and DC is given. They tell us if DC is 12, so DC is given as 12 squared, but AC is not given. If I look at this, sorry, I keep going through that scale. AC is not given, but I can go and work with this. Like, I know that AC is half the distance of AB. So all I need to do is find AB, and AB is easy enough. So I can just say, well, AC, first of all, AC is equal to half of AB. Okay, and AB is the square root of, and now this length, 6 squared plus 8 squared. So 6 squared plus 8 squared over 2. The 6 squared plus 8 squared is 64 plus 36 is 100. Square root that is 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the length of AC is 5. So plus 5 squared. 144 plus 25 is 169. The square root of that, AD, is 13. So that is the radius of the circle. For 2 points, that was a lot of work. I grant you that. That was not easy. Okay, or not trivial. Because of that intermediate step, we have to find the length of AC. Calculate the values of P and Q. Hint, D lies on the line G and the radius is 13. Okay, so I've already given the radius is 13. Yeah, anyway, I just want to show you here. You can see it says show that the radius of the circle is 13. So the answer was given, and that's why in this question you didn't get an answer mark for the answer. You got a mark for using Pythagoras, and then a mark for finding the distance of AC, just so you know. Okay, so here calculate the value of P and Q. So P and Q, the center of the circle. Hint, D lies on G and the radius is 13. Okay, so we know the radius of the circle. So what the first mark went for, and what most people actually got, was just by starting with the equation of a circle. So by saying, well, x minus p squared plus y minus q squared is equal to 13 squared. Most people got that. From here on, they didn't really know where to go. So first of all, we have 4 unknowns in here. We have x and we have y, p and q. Now x and y is easy to substitute, because all we need is a point that's on the graph, any point on the graph. So -6 and 0. Let's do that. So I could just put in -6 minus p squared plus, and then y, 0 minus q squared is equal to 13 squared. Problem is, I still have 2 unknowns, okay, but I can get an additional, so if I have 2 unknowns, I need 2 equations. And I can get another equation because there's another P and Q lies on a line. It lies on the line DC. And we found an equation for DC. The equation y is equal to negative 3 over 4 x plus 7 over 4. In other words, P and Q lies on that line. That means Q is equal to negative 3 over 4x plus 7 over 4. So instead of Q here, I could rather substitute that. Now this is Q squared, so the negative doesn't matter really. So I continue to substitute that. And then plus, and then on this side, Q can just be replaced with this squared. So negative 3 over 4x plus 7 over 4, this thing squared. Again, I ignore the negative because I'm squaring it. The negative will not have it. But let's put it in just, so multiply Q with a negative, and then all of Q's signs change, is equal to 13 squared. Now this is actually where the work comes in. Now it's simply multiplying it out, solving the equation that's going to, oh sorry, and this must be a P. The equation that's going to result. So this is 36, negative 6 times P is negative 6P, and that's going to be twice, so it's going to be plus, sorry, it's positive 6P, plus 12P plus P squared, plus, oh, and this is just ugly. Okay, so negative 3, that's 9 over 16P squared. These two multiplied together gives me negative 21 over 4, and another negative 21 over 4 gives me negative 42 over 4. So negative 42 over 4 P, and then the last one is plus 7 over 7 is 49 over 16. Okay, and just add it together, so I don't need the bracket, is equal to 13 squared. And now if I actually just multiply everything with a 16, will that look good? I suppose it's going to be an ugly thing to do, so let's just first, before I do any calculations, before I actually use my calculator, and let's just do that. So this is going to be 16 plus 9 is 25. So everything is going to be multiplied with 16, 16, 16. So I've got 16 p squares. When this one multiplies with 16, it will cancel. So my p squares that add up is a 16 plus a 9 is 25 p squared. Okay. This one is going to multiply with a 16. So I'm going to have negative 42 times, but this will cancel and 4 will be left. So 42 times 4 is negative 168. So negative 168 plus 12 will be negative 156 p. And then finally, this one is 36 times 16. 36 times 16 plus 49 plus 13 squared minus 13 squared. Okay, so equal to 0. Okay, now I can use my calculator. Otherwise, it would have just been a long calculation. So 36 times 16 plus 49 minus 13 squared is 400. So 25 p squared minus 156 p plus, and then what was that? 456 is equal to 0. Oh, that is even an ugly thing to solve. Okay, but nevertheless, we're just going to use our formula. So p is minus b, so 156 plus minus the square root over, okay, now the square root of b squared, which is 156 squared, minus 4 times 25 times 456. is equal to, somewhere must be a mistake. Well, I seem to have forgotten to multiply. Yes, I've forgotten to multiply this with a 16, but I see I also forgot that when I multiply these two together, this is 3 times 7 is 21 times 2, which is the 42, because it's going to happen twice. But I forgot to multiply 4 and 4, so this is also 16. So not 14, but 16. Okay, so that the whole 16 cancels, so that in the end I have 12 minus 42. Yeah, so it is 42 minus 12 is 36. But it's 12 times 16. So it is 12 times 16 is equal to 192 minus 42. Minus 42. There we go. No. 192. 12 times 16. Stop it. Minus 42. It's just 150. Okay. So that one is 150. And then this is times 16. So in the end, this part will also be wrong. So this part will be minus, I think. So 36 times 16 plus 49 minus 169 times 16. Yeah, that was a crucial mistake. Common mistake. Negative 2079 is equal to 0. Oh, it even looks uglier. Let's hope it works this time. Let's see. 156 squared, b squared. And you see, again, I ignore the negative because it's squared. Minus 4 times 25 times, and this time I times with 2079, but a negative. Okay. Okay, square root. Doesn't work. 2079. Let me just try again. So b squared. Oh, no, it's not 156. It's not 156. 150. Okay. So it's 150 squared minus 4 times 25 times 2079 with a negative is equal to, here we go. Yeah, it's supposed to work, and so should you. Okay, I won't give you an ugly thing like that. So 230400 230400 over, and then 25 blah 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 blah. What is that? 25 times 2 is 50. 50. So P is equal to, so 480 is the thing that I'm going to memory store. So then I'm going to say, again, sorry about that. Okay, so I've got 150 plus the memory recall divided by 50 is equal to 12,6, or it's 150 minus the memory recall is equal divided by 15. Okay, or P is equal to 6,6. So remember what we're trying to work out. We're trying to work out this point here in this graph, if you might have forgotten. This point here. So does it make sense that P is 12,6 or negative 6,6? Well, 12,6, because negative would have been, because P is the x value. No, it is the negative value. Sorry, it is the negative value because this one is supposed to be negative. It is that negative value because the positive value would have been on the positive side of the x-axis. P is the positive value. So yeah, there we go. Oh no, that's not the finished, because now we need q. So q is equal to negative 3 over 4 times negative 6,6 plus 7 over 4, and that gives me, okay, 6.6 times 3 negative over 4 plus 7 over 4 is equal to 6,7. Okay, let's just make sure it's not 6,7, and I'm not convinced, and I'll tell you why I'm not convinced is because this is the 0.8. So how is, and that's why negative 6. So that negative 6.6, it's already difficult to believe. So it makes sense that this is rather negative 12, and that one is higher than 8, so it can't be 6 point something. So let's just go back to that again. So 150 plus 480 is equal, divided by 50, okay, is 12. This rather seems like that should be the answer. P should be 12, but then this is wrong. The negative, but it is wrong. It isn't negative, because this is 12 times, that's 100, that should be positive. Man, but this is a difficult question, isn't it? Okay, nevertheless, then this one will be negative, that one will be negative, and that one will be positive. And then this is not the solution, but the other one is the solution. The other one, which is 12 with a negative, that thing gets multiplied with 3 over 4 is equal to that plus 7 over 4. Cool, 11 over 2. That makes much more sense. Okay, so Q is equal to 11,2. And there we go. P is negative 12,6 and Q is 11,2, which also makes sense. It's bigger than the 8, it's positive, etc., etc., etc. For 5 marks, man, that was a lot of work for 5 marks. How did we do in time? Let me have a look. Time, no, we still have more than enough time, because I spent about 32 minutes on this whole question, and including trying to figure out what the problem was. And we should have spent, it's 34 marks times 1.2. Should have spent 40 minutes. So we've got 8 minutes to spare. Did I answer all the questions? Let me just make sure I did. Seems like I did. Cool. So yeah, that one was a fairly difficult question. Let's quickly briefly go through them all and just explain. Write down the equation circle. With the information given like that, that was level 1. Determine the midpoint and the radius, that was level 2. Standard routine procedure, straightforward. Just apply the completing the square and then read it off from there. Calculate the distance MN, knowledge question. So you had to do the previous question, yeah, but let's say maybe routine procedure level 2. Drawing this was definitely a level 4 question, challenging you a bit on how can you know that these two circles are indeed just touching one another externally, and you could have only done that if you got the previous questions correct. This one also level 4 question, not difficult, level 4, but just having to solve a problem, determine the equation of the line. We only have 1 point, but it's the midpoint. So being creative on finding the coordinates of the other 2 points, or at least one of the other points. Then this one is just substitute into a formula, finding the answer. That at most is level 2. Okay, then the next one, find the coordinates of C. The midpoint is simply 2 marks. So halfway between. So 2 marks is just it's level 1 even. Midpoint's very basic. You can read it off most of the time. Find the line passing through AB. Yeah, level 1, maybe level 2 again, but straightforward. 2 points are given, just find the equation through that line. This one, the line through CD, that was level 3 because you had to apply the circle theorem, that the going from the center of the circle to the center of the chord is 90 degrees. So that was applying different topics from different different work from different topics into one question, and that makes it a level 3 at least. If the length of DC is equal to 12, that one, well, I think I put it level 1. It's a difficult level 1. It's not an easy level 1 question, but it's Pythagoras, really, so it's not very difficult. Okay, and then calculate the values of P and Q. This was definitely a level 4. That was a challenging, no, well, it would have been level 4 if I didn't give the hint. The moment a hint is given, then the problem is solved. So I give you the solution. Now, it's not easy. I mean, as you can see, even I struggled. Like, it's really hard work getting all of this stuff and working it out and being accurate. I mean, I set the question and I struggled. So it's really, it was a difficult question, yes. But it's not level 4. It's not a problem solving. The solution is given. And the solution is that, well, you know the radius, so you use the distance formula, and D is on the line G, so in other words, the point P and Q is related by the equation of the line. So, yeah, I'm basically just wasting some time to show you that we had some time to kill, but if there's any question that you could have skipped, it should have been question 1.1.4 and 1.3.5, and that would have still only lost you, and even 1.1.5 you could have gotten the distance formula point. So 1 point there, so 4 there, and maybe 2 points here, so 6 points really that should have challenged you a little bit beyond the knowledge in the content. So you could have still at least gotten 28 out of 34 if you knew your work, if you practiced. Nevertheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video when we will be treating trig. Trig really got you at the knees, didn't it?